Takeaway Chinese, where you can take some Chinese away and experience progress day by day. Takeaway Chinese, we will promise you a difference.
Welcome to this special episode of Takeaway Chinese. We are doing it in the honor of UN Chinese Language Day. I'm Niu Honglin with my good friend Steve in the studio, and thank you so much for being with us. So for today's show, what we're doing is actually something that is very unique to this day and age. I would say even a few years ago, we do things differently. Can you guess what that element might be? It's not only affecting Chinese, I think it's affecting everything, every aspect of our life.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, we watched the robot performance already, but really what we're talking about here is AI.
Or technology.
And technology in general, of course. Yeah, but AI and how it's impacting the way that we learn these days. You're right, it doesn't just apply to Chinese, but that's what we're going to be talking about today.
Yes.
How it's implemented itself into education. And I think today we can talk about the takeaways from it, what's good about it, maybe what's bad about it, if there's anything to discuss there.
Definitely. And the theme of today's show is a very beautiful combination of words. It's called ink and algorithms.
Yeah.
I have to make it loud and clear there because I feel like we know ink is what you started when you have characters, when you use ink to record, to document everything in life. Mm-hmm. And algorithms is something that's, if not dominating, then definitely affecting today's life. So from ink to algorithms, it's not only Chinese language that has gone past that route. It's the entire human civilizations.
And it's something that's unavoidable.
Definitely.
Yeah, I mean, when this kind of technology became a part of our lives, I felt like there seemed to be some resistance somehow to it, which is kind of a natural thing. Maybe that happened with computers too, when they kind of integrated themselves into our daily lives. But now look where computers are now. We can't live without one. And I think we're just at the beginning stages of where AI is going to take us, where tech is going to take us into the next level of human civilization. Sounds like a very deep thing to say, but I really do believe that that's where we are. So what we're going to be doing today is we're going to be hearing from some of you, which we are very, very excited about, and how it's had an impact, how AI has had an impact on your learning of the Chinese language.
But I think it all starts with a very simple yet definitive kind of question. That is, because today we see how good AI is, how good it can be with your laptop, with your phone, or even with the smart glasses. You might not need to learn a language in the sense that it does translation in a simultaneous almost kind of way. So do you think in this day and age, you still need to learn a language, even with AI performing like an instant translator and interpreter like that?
I think it depends on who you are as a person, and I think it depends on what you need from it in your life. And what I mean by that is if you're just going on a vacation to another country and you're only going to be there for 4 or 5 days, and you probably, or maybe you never will return to that country and use that language again,
yeah.
Well, you're probably not going to invest, a lot of time or energy or money or what have you into learning that language. But if you are interested in having it be a part of your career, or if you're traveling to live in another country,
or if you want to make a real friend in that language,
then absolutely, I think learning the language is not a waste of time at all. It creates deeper bonds and deeper friendships beyond something as superficial as perhaps, ordering a dish in a restaurant or something like that.
In that case, do you think, on the contrary, instead of replacing the need of learning a language, AI can help us learn a language better?
I do. I do believe that, but I don't believe it should be 100% depended on, because AI, as we know, makes mistakes, and it still makes mistakes often, more often than I think we're comfortable with, right? So if you're using AI as a tool in your work, then you're going to have to double check it or even triple check it to make sure that everything is factually correct. Well, it's the same thing when you're using AI as a tool for learning a language. It's not going to get everything right all the time, or perhaps it's not even capable of giving giving you all that deep cultural information.
And the problem is without a proper human teacher, you might not even have the ability to judge the right from the wrong, the answers provided by AI.
And not only that, but it's available to you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Yes.
It's a teacher that never sleeps and never goes home.
And that's why we're super curious about your answers. That's why we asked whether or not how do you use AI to learn Chinese. And here are some of the answers we've got.
I use AI to look up the meanings and usage of new words, and I often ask it about the differences between two synonyms. For example, I asked what's the difference between 旅行 and 旅游, which both mean travel in Chinese. It gave me many examples, and I understood right away.
When I am at home, I take a photo and ask my AI software, can you give me the pinyin for these words, the French translation, and then a Chinese example sentence? It gives me the answers, possibly up to 50 different words, very fast.
I use AI to check if the sentences I write are correct. For example, when I'm writing an essay. Sometimes I also use AI to practice conversations. It talks to me like a friend.
I use AI to learn Chinese. For example, I use AI to have conversations with me to practice speaking, correct my pronunciation, and also to look up words I don't know. Sometimes I also use AI to learn about Chinese culture, which helps me better understand both the Chinese language and China.
Wow, that are some really good answers. Those answers, I have to admit, it's not exactly surprising, but we get to see how various ways people are really resorting to when it comes to language learning, when it comes to Chinese language learning.
And that's why I said it depends on the person. And I guess we could take that a step further and say, in this case, everybody's a student, right? All those messages we just heard, those are all students of the Chinese language. But people like to learn in different ways. Some people like to learn through the news. Some people like to learn through music. Some people like to learn through movies or videos, other types of videos. There's lots of different types of learning, and AI can help there.
Yes, and some of them are even getting very creative and asking AI to provide them with a little game to play together or giving them different words in one genre. And I think that is a really smart way of learning a language. And that is also a very smart way to use AI. Because if you ask a human teacher to do that, sure, they can do it.
It's a lot of work.
But it's a lot of work.
Yeah.
It's not as like 1 second they can generate the answer.
Yeah. If we compared the way that we used to learn languages 20 years ago or 30 years ago,
Definitely better.
It's a totally different ball game now, and it's just so much more convenient than it used to be.
But you also mentioned the fact that AI is not perfect just yet, which is why we want to know if you get to quote unquote improve AI or help AI be better at helping you, what would you want AI to do? And we've also got a lot of fun answers.
Yeah. Can I choose one of my favorites, actually?
Of course.
Yeah, we got a message from Sally, and Sally talks about how she uses AI to help her improve her Chinese.
I've heard that some AI can generate Chinese subtitles and pinyin for movies or videos. I want to try using it to practice speaking. I think it should be helpful.
That's Sally.
Sally learns the way that I used to learn and the way that I still like to learn. And as I said, there are many different ways to learn, but a movie is such a wonderful way to improve your Chinese because you not only get to see the vocabulary used that everybody uses in daily life, you get to hear the grammar structures too, but then with the subtitles, you get to see it right in front of you. And the best part about it is pause, note-taking, play,
yes, definitely.
note-taking. Yeah, it's in the reverse, go back, rewind, and watch it again. It's just fantastic.
But besides that, we also got some other really good answers. So let's take a watch.
What I hope most is that AI can help me organize knowledge points more efficiently and make complex content simple and easy to understand. At the same time, I also hope it can answer my questions anytime
and practice with me so that learning can become easier and more goal-oriented.
I hope AI can help me practice speaking and pronunciation while also helping me learn about Chinese culture.
I hope that while learning Chinese, I can use AI to help me check grammar, practice conversations, and improve my writing skills.
See, I told you those are some good answers. And I feel like AI can do most of the things that students want it to do. It's still in the sense that you have to give it specific prompts several times instead of instantly using it in just one app or one agent.
And I feel like there's a learning curve to that. You have
you
have to know how to speak to the AI, which is a really kind of painful process in the beginning. And I've gone through this mistake. Well,
you have to train it to your specific needs.
I feel like you're training yourself, actually.
Understanding how to talk to it.
Exactly. Maybe it's kind of like having a baby in the sense that, you have to learn how the baby is communicating with you.
And at this stage, you are still learning faster than the baby. The AI.
So I'm the baby in this case. Oh, this is getting deeper and deeper by the minute. But back to the point, jokes aside, it's true. You have to know how to speak to the AI to get the answers that you want and the answers that are accurate. Otherwise, you can kind of run in circles a little bit. But again, it's just a bit of a learning curve.
And also, when you actually get it, when you really know how to talk to it, it can be really helpful in different scenarios.
I had another question.
Oh, okay.
And I brought it up before that AI isn't perfect. We know that it can be frustrating sometimes. So I wanted to know from you, when you are using AI as a tool to improve your Chinese language skills, what are some of the things that you find frustrating? We got some good answers here too. Let's check them out.
I feel like what AI struggles with most is grasping culture and humor. Even though it has a massive knowledge base, it has a hard time reading between the lines. For instance, things like Chinese idioms, inside jokes, or sarcastic tones often go right over its head because AI lacks genuine emotion. Its answers, while factually correct, lack that authentic and engaging feel.
I think AI sometimes misunderstands what I mean or gives answers that aren't completely correct. Also, when using AI to practice Chinese, there are sometimes usage limits or restrictions on how many times you can use it.
I think AI still cannot fully understand human emotions, so its responses can sometimes feel a bit stiff. Also, it sometimes doesn't fully understand your question and gives inappropriate answers. As for Chinese, I feel that AI isn't very good at explaining things, especially tones, Chinese characters, and synonyms. And it often makes mistakes.
I think AI sometimes doesn't fully understand the cultural context of Chinese. For example, some internet memes or authentic, colloquial expressions. Its explanations aren't accurate enough.
I think those are some genuine answers. And I have another answer that might not be experienced by the majority of you when you're learning Chinese, and that is from a teacher's point of view. My feeling is that as a teacher, we are all different. When I'm teaching Chinese, I might want to show you how the characters were made originally, and it might have nothing to do with the current Chinese simplified characters anymore, but the original version was perhaps a picture, and it carries the kind of ritual or living habits of people then. And to me, it's fascinating. And to an AI, unless you want to know specifically that, it will not tell you that. But with different teachers, they open different doors for you. They open different possibilities of the culture for you. And some of the possibilities might be your future interest, might be something that would give you the motive to continue learning. And that element of surprise is not something that AI can provide.
You're absolutely right. And I agree that all those answers were great answers. And they were all kind of touching on the same thing, that AI just misses stuff from time to time. And I know that when you and I do takeaway Chinese in the studio, when we're not recording for video purposes, one of the common questions I have for you is, okay, you taught me the expression, but can I use it in this case or can I use it in that case? And what's the emotion connected if I use it in this way or that way? And you always give me the correct answer. But that's one of the nuances. When I talk about nuances, that's one of the things that AI will miss all the time.
And we're not even starting talking about literature, poem.
Oh, poetry. That's a whole
genre for sure. Yeah. So humor is one thing, and the most up-to-date expressions in a language, even the slangs in a language is one thing. But altogether, I think it's about the kind of deeper connection that you will form when you're learning a language with a culture. So that is still something, well, we don't know for sure. Maybe one day AI will be really, really good, but I still think a human teacher cannot be missed in the entire process.
Final piece to the puzzle, like I said.
Exactly. And at the end of the day, you learn a language because you're interested in the culture.
Yeah.
And there's this one very specific scenario where you only get when you're learning Chinese. Yes, I'm talking about it. When you're learning Chinese, when you're using Chinese, not even other languages, when you're traveling in China and you have a face that suggests you're not from the country, no matter what you say, even if you're just throwing in a ni hao, people would say, whoa, your Chinese is good.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
When I speak English in English-speaking countries, that
nobody says anything.
Nobody says anything.
Yeah.
But in China, you get to the level of friendliness, you get people's appreciation, and they even applaud, saying, wow, 你中文可真好, even if you're only saying hello and thank you in Chinese, saying 你好,谢谢, people would say that. And that is because China is a very welcoming country, and I believe when you are welcomed in that way, it will give you that motivation that you need to really know the society and know the country.
Right, and that's something that you just can't get from AI. And the other thing, too, that we haven't even talked about yet is sometimes languages don't translate perfectly from one word to the next word to the next word to the next word. So even if you put in your sentence properly, it might come out jumbled up a little bit on the other end.
That's true. And that is why we need a good translation tool. But still, I don't know the answer to this one because I kind of feel like it does both. When a translation app is really, really good, it can either make you want to learn the language even more, or make you feel like you don't need to learn the language at all. So any experience there? We even ask this question to all of our online friends, which means we've got some really good answers in the form of texts. Yes.
Asking, is learning Chinese even necessary?
With their experience with an exact certain app.
Yeah, exactly. I can see one answer jumps out. The giant red yes.
Yes, it's talking about, yes, it makes me want to learn the language even more. And we also have friends saying, yes, it is. When studying Chinese, you do not only learn to speak a language, you are welcomed in a marvelous culture. I started 20 years ago, still learning and enjoying every minute. So it's not simply about communication or talking to a person who provides information. It's more about the process. The process is fun, and also about getting the connection with a soul behind the word.
I think it's about perspective, too, and how you view language learning in general. Some people really like it. Some people enjoy the process. And I think that's my answer to this question. It's not that it's a question of whether learning Chinese is valuable or not. We're all here, and you're here watching together with us. So our answer to that question is obviously yes. But how we learn that is going to be different for each person. And I agree with what you said, in the sense that we're using our brain and we're doing something that's really fun and valuable, and something that can really impact our lives in a very positive way. And if we view learning Chinese, or any language to be fair, if we view it that way,
it's not a matter of necessity.
Yeah, it takes the necessity out of things, and it puts the more hobby kind of aspect into it and the more fun type of aspect into it. And that's exactly what Ivan said in his answer. Learning a language is going to be a bit like riding a horse. It's an optional hobby, but helps to live a better life and to be more connected.
Connected.
Yeah,
that is the key word.
Yeah.
And we do also have some videos as answers. So let's see whether or not there are some other answers that inspires us.
I would prefer to learn Chinese because translation software is very convenient. But sometimes it's not very accurate, so I think I still need to learn it myself so that I can speak better.
I would prefer to learn Chinese because I feel that with translation software, it's very easy for me to look up new words, so I have time to study other parts.
For me, yes. For example, if I go to China for work, I can speak a little Chinese, so I can chat and joke around with my colleagues. If you use an app, it really feels different.
Like I said, some of the answers are a bit poetic, some of the answers are practical, and some are just on a daily basis because I get to joke with my colleagues. That's very important too. And to be fair, when Steve is in the office and when he uses the kind of expressions we've just learned on Takeaway Chinese, that is a moment, a golden moment for the entire office. Everyone loves it very much.
Yeah, usually that's how it goes. When we finish our Takeaway Chinese sessions, I walk back into our office and immediately share what I learned with my coworkers, my Chinese coworkers, who know that my Chinese is very limited, and I always get a chuckle or a little laugh or a wow or something like that, and it's always a fun moment.
It is a fun moment, and that's why we all love you for doing that. Thank you. But still, since we've got this theme for today, I'm at the end curious about the kind of final impression, the final sentence. That's why we asked, in one sentence, what does an AI app mean for you? And what does actually knowing the language for you?
Well, I enjoy learning different things. I enjoy learning different languages. I've had the opportunity to learn French and Korean and Chinese in my life, and English too, obviously.
Talented.
When I was a young student. My impression of how to use AI to develop your language skills has been in my brain consistently since it's been a thing in our lives, which it has been for a few years now. And I'll reiterate what I said before about how we need to use it in the way that best suits us. And if you incorporate AI into the other ways that you enjoy learning, then you've got the newest tech in your life as a personal assistant or an aid. And it will help you, number one, improve your language skills faster, I believe, than previously.
For sure.
But also it'll make it more fun, too. I remember when I was learning languages before, I used to have these little, recipe cards. Little square pieces of almost thicker paper.
Yes.
And you put
we've got vocabulary cards.
Yeah, exactly. That's old school, right?
Yeah.
Gosh, for French and Korean, I used to carry those around in my jacket
dedication.
Pocket. Yeah, but now with AI and everything being digital, you can upgrade it. And again, it's whatever way you like learning.
And even the fact is that I'm not a Chinese learner per se. It's my mother tongue. I'm still learning it for sure, but not the same way as a second language or anything. But as a language learner, I feel like AI app is a fast pass for me to get into a culture and a society. Maybe I can figure out something that I'm super interested in. But actually knowing the language is like a lifelong dedication to that culture. It's something that I will never, ever give up. It's something that I will constantly pick up whenever I have time. And it's a deeper connection I get to form with that culture and with those people. And that is something that's much more poetic, so poetic that you cannot really translate it into something that AI understands.
100% agree.
Yes.
And we're still learning about other people in the world, other cultures in the world, enhancing our knowledge, our knowledge of human beings and how people live in this country, China, and how people enjoy their daily lives and how we can express ourselves through the language that's used here. And that's a really, really, really cool thing to be able to add to your own repertoire.
We're loving Chinese in the age of AI.
Exactly.
Which is perfect because for those who do not have an interest in another language, they don't have to anymore. But for those who have a genuine love for the language, for the culture, for the society and its people, yes, we are loving Chinese in a way that could have never happened for previous generations. So if you are loving Chinese as well, if you're watching this, thank you so much for your time. And I think this is a perfect way to celebrate the UN Chinese Language Day. So thank you so much for watching this special edition of Takeaway Chinese. And we promise to see you again next year on this special day.
Thanks for watching. And oh, by the way, thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Thanks for being here.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, everybody. Thank you.